Hello everyone, we're going to do a product test shoot today and we're going to do a video about it. And today's product test shoot is not going to be led by me, but it's going to be led by one of our up and coming photographers, Dylan.
Hello.
And while he's relatively young in industry, right, his understanding of lighting is just amazing and pretty much most of it is all self-taught. So Dylan, tell us more about yourself.
Hi, I'm 24 this year. I've been doing photography for over 5 years, but professionally as a product photographer for over a year. I like to shoot things like cosmetic products, beverages and jewelries. I feel they really interest me in terms of like the still lighting and how it is really quite challenging.
Okay Dylan, so can you tell us what are we shooting today?
Today we are shooting one of our cameras, specifically the A7IV.
Why in particular do you want to shoot the A7IV today?
Well, most of my portfolio consists of like cosmetic and jewelry products. So today I wanted to try something new, maybe more towards the gadget tech stuff.
And what do you think is probably going to be the most challenging part about shooting the camera today?
In product photography, we are all very scared of glossy surfaces. And some of this product, the screen itself is glossy and also the whole product is matte. So today we are doing with different types of surfaces.
With that, maybe Dylan, can you run through the lighting and how you set it, and maybe also end off with like the camera settings and why you set it that way?
Okay, so the first light, right off the bat, we always start with the glossy products first because usually the glossy surfaces is the hardest as you will add in more lights afterwards. The first light will start to change and you have to go back and tweak. As you know, glossy surfaces in product photography is just showing a reflection of the light source. So what you want to do is always tackle glossy surfaces from the same incident angles as the camera. So what this means is, right now the camera is shooting at the screen at this angle. Your light source must come in from the opposite angle. So why did I put a light behind the screen is because when the light is behind the screen, it gives a gradual glow. As you can see at the bulb there, it's at the brightest and it starts to graduate down to darkness. So this will show up in the reflection on the screen. So I'm using double screen because this kind of material is very thin and it will start to crease. And when you have creases on the screen, it will show up in the glossy surfaces as well. Okay, so this speed light is the second hardest one to do because I'm trying to grace the texture. And because there's only a certain area that I can use, like from my angle, I'm trying to not affect the whole product. So the next light is our portable AD200. This light is grazing at the back of the subject to give that one line of rim light to separate the subject from the background, because the background we are using here is black color and the product is also quite black. So we always try to separate subjects with the same color as the background by using rim lighting. Okay, next, this speed light is on a softbox. Although this softbox is very small, but relatively to the product, it's actually a very big softbox. Just imagine this camera body as a human-sized figure. That will be something like maybe 1.2 by 2 meter softbox. And this light particular is just to fill up the whole side here. Okay, so one term we use in photography is called the inverse square law. So inverse square law states that whatever distance from your light source to the product, each time you double up this distance, your light power will lose by 4 times. So we can use this phenomenon to our advantage by controlling the contrast of our shots. The more closer you bring your lights to the product, the moodier you'll get. The further your light source is away, you'll get more low contrast and you have a more even lighting style.
I got a question. Is there a must to use something so small, or I know it can be smaller, but can it be bigger?
So if you use a bigger softbox, naturally your lighting will become more even and you have a wider spread of light. And your product will start to look more flat. If your softbox is too big, it won't just light up one side of the product, you'll light up the whole eventually because your light will wrap around the product. So the last second light is a AD600. I mounted a strip box on it. So this light is to give an overall feel to the other side, to the opposite side. So just now as I explained, this side is a little more moody. This side where it's facing towards the camera is a more general feel. Okay, this is the last speed light. This is just to give a very simple feel to the front because your light is coming from both sides, but there's nothing on the front. So your front is just complete darkness. So this is just to help to fill it up a bit. So this silver is very special. Normally people will think that you're trying to fill up the whole product evenly, but for this case, it's trying to give some line of gloss to the lens. So the lens you can see, there's a bit of mix of matte surfaces here and a bit of semi-gloss here. So this kind of semi-gloss surfaces, one thing so special about them is that when you try and fill them, they'll receive much more light than the matte surfaces are. So when you have a reflector that is far enough, your matte surfaces won't catch too much light, but you'll light up the semi-gloss much more. So this is to give that line.
Wow, okay Dylan, so that's really a lot of lights. I really, even myself don't shoot with that many lights for a shoot. So now we talked about lights, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the camera and the settings you're using.
So you are using a Canon camera here today with a 100mm macro lens. Okay, so I'm using a 160 shutter speed at f13 and at the lowest ISO native of the camera, which is around 50.
Around 50, wow. And for 160 means later we need to turn off the lights?
No. This setting is such that we are cutting out all the ambient lights. So if I don't turn off the flash trigger and I take a shot, it will be a blank screen. And this is to create an isolated environment where only the flashes are doing the work.
Because you're shooting multiple shots later, are there some of the shots that you need to shoot at different shutter speed?
Yes. So because today is more of a special case, we are dealing with LCD screens, and LCD screens, you know, are continuous lighting, they are not flashes. So we have to account for that by using a shutter speed with a longer duration to catch the LCD screen. And by doing that, we won't affect the flashes exposure because shutter speed doesn't affect flash. So I'm using Capture One today. And what's so good about Capture One is that so far I haven't been finding any problems with the tethering system. Lightroom where it can be a bit buggy and you'll disconnect at times. So I always start with my workflow with a black screen. I will turn off all the flashes and turn off the trigger and adjust the camera settings such that I get an isolated environment.
So thanks Dylan for showing us detailed explanation about your lighting setup
pleasure.
here, which is insane by the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave him to shoot the rest of the product here, and then we'll show you the results of the shoot right after this. And if there's anything else you would like us to show a behind the scenes of shooting wise, for example for him, product shoots, for myself, portrait photography, just drop it us in the comments below and we will try our best to show it to you guys. Alright, so that's it. Thank you so much and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.